Okay, well, we're going to get started. The topic for our last session for the Q&A is building the MRT SSP line. And as I mentioned, we have a guest panel here to go through some key topics. First of all, we've got PDP SSP Project Director, Mr. Param.
Hey, hello.
We've got Director of Acre Works, Mr. Venu.
Hello.
Project Director at Acre Works, Mr. Faudzilah. And Director Construction Division at Gadang Engineering, Mr. Ung.
Hello.
All right, gentlemen, we'll get straight in. The topics for this little Q&A is on the MRT line, the SSP. We'll get straight in. Mr. Param, can you start? What are some of the lessons and successes from the SBK line that we have built upon and utilizing for the SSP line?
The SPK line was successfully completed on time and below budget. But we could take away a lot of good learnings from SPK line. And one of the things that we have built upon is how well we can improve our design in terms of constructability, in terms of the safety that we can incorporate into the design. We've improved our stakeholder management practices. We have enhanced our safety for the whole of line 2 as compared to line 1. We've enhanced it. And most of all, we have improved on our integration of the systems into our civil works. So at the end of the day, with all this integration and improvement, we hope and expect to see that the contractors who come on to line 2 would be able to build it at a much better pace, and hopefully they also can be more profitable as a result.
And we got Mr. Faudzilah, Mr. Ung, and Mr. Venu, who are part of the WPC for SSP line. So I'm going to ask Mr. Faudzilah, how do the PDP, MMC Gamuda, and WPC work together to ensure a timely delivery on the project?
Thank you. Okay, when we talk about the timely completion here, of course we try to minimize the time loss during the construction. I think the big part of touched by Mr. Param is safety. For the line 2, the safety is very tight. Even PDP introduced some incentive for those WPC that have good marks during the assessment, their performance assessment. Besides the safety, also on the engagement with the stakeholder prior to any construction activity. So this is part of the mitigation plan to overcome the time loss. Besides that, we have risk mitigation, how to overcome all the risks, as well as the last one is everybody is eyeing on the target date. We have a weekly meeting, fortnightly meeting, even monthly meeting for all relevant works. So I think that is a very good practice for the line 2.
Mr. Param, would you like to elaborate on that sort of mitigation and how perhaps technology has been able to, the role that's played in the difference between SBK and SSP line?
I think the important thing for the contractors is they would like to see that we have a very constructible design, because a constructible design is a speedy design. So that's one of the areas which we put a lot of emphasis on. And then we incorporate into the contractor's cost structure the ability to do safety, the ability to do stakeholder management, to enhance their ability to interact and to ensure that our interaction with the public is minimized. And also any inconvenience to public is minimized. So in that sense, I think what he's trying to allude to is the fact that we've allowed for it in the pricing. It's not something that we just throw on them as a surprise. It's priced in.
And Mr. Venu, can you just go through the strengths of Acre Works and that you bring as a WPC to MMC Gamuda, and how that leverage between that relationship and how you've been able to work towards the already the successes of the SSP line?
Thank you. Before I address that issue, that point, follow through to what Faudzilah had said. To the first question, I think the one very important element in this project is that the project control and monitoring sits on a very open and transparent platform. That allows everybody to look at the schedule, and we are able to look ahead of a lot of the activities to ensure that there are no surprises, and everybody is involved in this. And because of this, everybody takes ownership of the schedule. It's not just an individual or one company or PDP. Everybody is very, very involved in this because it's an open platform and it's very transparent. So that's to add on to what Encik Faudzilah has been asked to say. On our side, as a WPC, we've been on the job for now 6 months, but before being a WPC, we were considered a specialist contractor. Very hands-on. We are involved in manufacturing of precast elements, lifting, involved in heavy lifts. We've got our own pre-stressing system. So when we came to this job, we brought the element of detail engineering. We are able to offer the hands-on, on-the-ground experience that we can share with our clients and the PDP. And obviously, evolving from a specialist contractor to a WPC, we needed help as well. And on this particular job, the PDP saw itself not just as a client or a client representative. We are very happy that we have been treated like a partner. So when we migrate upwards to become a main contractor, the migration was made easy for us. So we see this as a win-win, as a term that you use for both parties.
And Mr. Ong, your thoughts on the relationship as Gadang Engineering as WPC with MMC Gamuda, and I guess the current short-term progression that's being made on SSP line, and a bit of a look to the future of how technology and how the interconnection or the relationship with the PDP on the current project. Just your thoughts on that.
Thank you. Just to add on to the panels that I've just discussed, on top of what Mr. Param mentioned, PDP has a time frame to resolve technical issues, and therefore we are able to move work faster. And things that when we encounter problem in terms of design, there is always a win-win situation, both contractor and as well as PDP, that we work for a solution in order to get things moving faster. Gadang's specialty has always been a very hands-on contractor. We own our own machineries. We have our own labor forces. That is one of the benefits that we can bring forward to the project, and as well as timely completion. Normally, we will also help the client in terms of technical issues. We resolve it together if we encounter problems, or if we find that there is a win-win situation where we can do things faster. We will always offer something that is better for the client. We want to get the job moving in a safe manner and in an economical manner.
And Mr. Param, your thoughts on the next steps, the next year, next 24 months, moving forward with the WPC and working your role, and where the future lies in the execution of the SSP line. Yeah.
So, just to add on to what they were saying, we are a contractor previously. We have been a contractor for a long time, so we understand what contractors expect from us. Good design, decision making, which is quick and acceptable. Thirdly, the ability to manage change well in terms of giving them advice on the change and to ensure that change decisions are made well. Now, what we're adding to that is two more aspects. One is capability building. The contractors who join us, we want them to be able to lift to another level, and that capability building requires us to provide training. We provide enormous amount of training, not only in safety, concrete technology. We have done a lot of training in terms of systems integration. So the contractors who work with us will be able to move to another level. So that is a very major aspect of what we do for them. But having said that, there's a lot of things that we can learn from them as well, because what they bring to the table is their specialist expertise. So what we do is we try our best to not only share our capability, but we also try to absorb what they can bring to the table. So with this kind of relationship, we expect that we'll be able to achieve a much more successful and a faster delivery of the project.
And you touched on the point of training and talent development. When you're working with the WPC, I guess it's a two-way street where you need to rely on what they need and their requirements, but you're also injecting your expertise and your knowledge. So, Mr. Venu, can you just touch on the talent development and the training from Acre's point of view and how that has been in the 6 months?
I think the benefit to the construction industry as a whole is actually enormous. This is the first time as contractors we've seen this sort of commitment from the client level as well as the PDP level. As what Mr. Param has mentioned earlier on, many of these elements is actually built into the contract. First, the client has acknowledged that these are required to ensure that the project is successful. Secondly, they are prepared and they have committed to put monetary values into the contract. So the contract, the structure, the specification, the design to ensure that this happens. And so it's not just by mentioning it, but they're actually walking the walk. And this, I think, is probably I've not seen this in any other projects before. While some clients have tried to emulate it or tried to raise the bar, so as to speak. But on the PDP, we can actually see it. It's also impacted us in our organization, and we've developed the culture, this positive culture, and we've tried to take this to our other projects as well.
Any other on our panel want to add to that or have any comments on the talent development?
Just to add in a little bit to what Mr. Param said on the constructability. It's very professional for this MRT project. Very professional. It's always two-way communication. The contractor, the designer, even PDP is open door to discuss on what is the best to construct and to have the timely completion of the project.
All right, gentlemen, I don't believe we have any questions from the audience, so we'll wrap up. Any closing note on the topic that we've had, or perhaps some of the other topics that we've gone through today? I guess the main one is the MRT line, but we've also touched on systems and safety and design, all big things part of sustainable mobility, which is the theme of the event today. Any other closing thoughts before we wrap up today?
Just a final thought. The success of the project requires a success of the contractors as much as the success of the PDP. So our relationship is actually intertwined. We can't succeed if they don't succeed. And therefore we always look at them as part of our ecosystem in order for us to succeed. And that's where we move with them.
Thank you very much. Well, I think that comes to a close, our Q&A for this afternoon and our Q&A sessions for today. Thank you very much for joining the MMC Gamuda booth, and thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.